Welcome to a special edition of the Referrals podcast. Introducing our new Daily Dose. We've assembled the ultimate crisis response team for your business. Generous leaders from around the globe teaming up to teach, guide, and lead you through this time of isolation and quarantine. Now let's meet your host, Michael J. Maher.
Hey everybody, this is Michael J. Maher with another edition of the Daily Dose. I have to give a big high five to my producer, Sherry L. Maher, for having a backup to our normal Zoom strand. We are using StreamYard today. So I'm not sure what that looks like on your end, but I have to say we had the opportunity to go live and it's working. So kudos to Sherry and the team. And I will tell you today is, what is your tennis ball? And I know this tennis ball looks pretty ragged, and it is because our dog has taken to it. But today is about what is your tennis ball and what the heck does that mean? And we're going to find that out in just 1 second. I've got a couple of announcements, and then we're going to bring on our special guest today, Mr. Roger Savy. So first of all, announcements. We have a new 30 morning class that starts on May 11th. You can go to 30ams.com or 30mornings.com. We have an East Coast and a West Coast class. If you have heard anything this week and last week from the speakers, the morning ritual has come up many, many, many times. Now, the other thing is we only have a few spots left in those classes. So do us a favor, sign up today, get yourself locked into that spot, and make sure that you are signed up for Monday's class. Number 2, tomorrow we have a vision board class by demand. It is a free class. Vision board class and cocktails with Jen Scarparo and Sherry Maher, Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. That will be 3 o'clock on the West Coast. Check the event section at the Generosity Generation for details. Looking ahead, tomorrow we have Shalee Davis, and we are going to talk about the nightly rituals, sweet dreams. What is a ritual that can change your life? We're going to give you another one tomorrow. Next Monday, we have Michael Hellickson. Tuesday, Sean Callaghy, which is one of Tony Robbins' top speakers. Wednesday, Ann Schutte on growing Facebook groups. How do you get to 54,000 people in your group? She's going to talk about that. Now, this is my reminder to all of you. You are to create and lead a Facebook group through the quarantine times. There is no better time to do it than now. So many of you have done that. Now, if you haven't done it, I have instructions for you in just 1 second. For those of you that have a Facebook group, go to the share button below and then go to start your watch party. This is the reminder to start your watch party. And if you have never done a Facebook group, then this is your chance to do a watch party on your personal profile. So start a watch party for your friends, join in on the conversation, have a good time. This is all G and PG rated, no cuss words on here. We are super clean. So anybody from 11 to 111 can watch. Now, I'm telling you something about this guy today. So first of all, he was born in Durban, South Africa. He was originally qualified as a perfusionist, which is a technologist who operates heart and lung machines during a heart bypass surgery. Yeah, Dr. Savy. Joined Merck Pharmaceuticals as a sales representative, then the training manager, then the senior brand manager. He was headhunted by Bristol Myers Squibb as a senior marketing manager. He was promoted to the world headquarters in Princeton, New Jersey as director of cardiovascular franchise. In this capacity, he supported 20,000 salespeople in over 32 countries. He moved to Las Vegas as an assistant sales manager for Old Republic Title Company in Nevada, moved to Washington as marketing and sales VP for Old Republic Title. He was headhunted by the Finance of America as regional marketing and business development director. And now he is part owner of Pinnacle Home Loans in San Francisco. And he had the most beautiful San Francisco background on Zoom. It was just like he had worked days to make that happen, and it looked so good. And today he's actually doing it from a room. So he is currently the EVP of the business development, and he is an unshackler, breaking chains everywhere. He prefers to be known within the generosity generation and otherwise as the ambassador of optimism. Roger is now consistently rated as the favorite speaker for his high energy, passionate delivery, and value driven approach to sales and service. He has shared the stage with Michael J. Maher. That's me, by the way. Top producers, event panelists, and other certified referral trainers. He has worked with and been endorsed by names such as Budge Husky, Michael Maher, Floyd Wickman, Darren Hardy, and Todd Duncan. He currently resides in Petaluma, California with his wife, Kathy, and children, Danielle, Cole, and Delaney. And do not forget the brooding cat, Pumpkin. And I will tell you that I had a lot of choices and a lot of people that I wanted as speakers for my Referral Mastery Summit. But there was only one that I could really choose as number one is my master of ceremonies. And I will tell you what, it's one of those where my CRTs and the other speakers are all nodding their head yes right now, as it was the perfect choice, the MC of Referral Mastery Summit. And I will tell you, this guy is like the Tony Robbins of South Africa. This guy is one of the best speakers I've ever seen and one of the best people I've ever known. And ladies and gentlemen, Roger Savy, let's welcome him to the Daily Dose of Positivity and Productivity. Welcome, Roger.
Michael, wow, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Thank you for that fabulous introduction. I'm so pleased to be with you here.
Well, I have to tell you, thank you so much for being on today. It's just a great, it's always great to speak with you, even if I'd rather be in person with you, because our conversations are always so enriching. And so today we get the opportunity to have a very public conversation, and we get to share your wisdom with hundreds and eventually thousands. And it's one of those where your breadth of knowledge is so great that I know that, I mean, like when you sent over like 9 titles, and the titles of your presentations were so vast and so amazing and so rich. And I, in our conversation, just like, one of my favorites is like, what is your tennis ball?
Yeah.
So can you just, let's not bury the lead, right? So what the heck do you mean by a tennis ball? Like what is even, like, I want to know what my tennis ball is, or how do I recognize that, or how's that look like? So what is your tennis ball? And so what is the story behind that?
Michael, that concept of the tennis ball, what is your tennis ball, came to me when I was holding the tennis ball and showing it to my dog. And as I showed that tennis ball to the dog and I bounced my hand, the dog moved with me. And I realized he was locked in on that tennis ball. And then as I turned to hurl the ball, he was crouched. He was ready. He never took his eye off that tennis ball. And when you let it go, the wheel spinning on the Slasto to get there, knocked the grandkids over, knocked the Arondack chairs flying. Nothing was going to distract him from that tennis ball. And so it always allows me to ask, really, people who wish to invest in themselves, what is your tennis ball? What gets you out of bed every morning, asking yourself, what am I going to learn? What am I going to teach? That's the concept.
Oh my gosh. Like, that is such a great concept from the aspect of focus. It's a dog is, I mean, the movie, what was the movie Up, where the dogs are in it?
Yep.
And literally, like, they're bothering the main dog. And then all of a sudden, like, there's a squirrel that runs by and they're all like, squirrel. And then they run off and chase the squirrel. Right. But what you're saying is just like, it's hard to get a dog. It's harder to get a dog's attention than it is a person's attention.
Yep.
And so you get a dog's attention, it's instantly with the tennis ball. And by the way, just so you know, like, Miles is at my feet right now. And as soon as I pick up the ball, he's like, like ready to go, and it's like, But the other thing too is all right, you throw a tennis ball, what does the dog do? The dog goes and he takes ownership of the tennis ball. Even if it's your tennis ball, it's now the dog's tennis ball. And then he goes and gets it, and then he brings it back to you. And it's and it's play, and it's fun.
That's that teeter-totter that you often talk about.
Yeah.
We're adding value to each other, and it starts with that singular focus.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
relationship is a value exchange, right?
Yep.
It's like a teeter-totter game where we're holding a bag of gold, and like if they're holding a bag of gold and we're holding a bag of gold, then you know what? The teeter-totter is just level. There's really no relationship and no energy. But as soon as I take my bag of gold and I throw it to them and they catch it and they have 2 bags of gold, then they fall.
Yep.
But I go up. Isn't it interesting that I went up by giving value, by giving my gold? And then what does that person do? Well, in today's society, reciprocity is a really big, power. So they throw a couple of bags of gold to me. I catch them. I go down, they go up.
Yep.
And then we throw them back and forth, and it's a teeter-totter game. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of energy. And if you actually mapped our location over time, it would be an energy map, right?
Absolutely right. And Michael, if the people who are watching take that concept and use it when they do their presentations or they're talking to someone they wish to inspire, if they set it up well and you pose the question to the people that are in front of you, what is your tennis ball? There's that aha moment with, oh my goodness, maybe I am just serendipitous in my day. Anything can take me in any direction. Do I have one thing? Am I too busy to be productive? Maybe pick one thing.
Yeah. I love that. And this is the daily dose of positivity and productivity. And what's amazing is it incorporates both of those. It incorporates the positivity of make it fun. Make like, you don't, I mean, like phone calls. If you're calling with the thought of getting business or taking, those phone calls are they're like a root canal. They're the hardest thing in the world. Yep. But if you think of those calls as just reconnecting with a friend and checking on them, seeing how they're doing, and you call in the spirit of generosity, the calls are the easiest things in the world to make, especially now, and so make it fun. Make it like, what would make the call fun? Like right now, I have to tell you, everybody's like on computer, they're doing Zoom, things like that. I'm going to tell you right now what I believe is the number one tool of choice in quarantine. The number one tool of choice for me in quarantine is the phone. And you're like, yeah, but I'm doing Zoom one-on-one, Zooming. I'm doing virtual open house. But I'm telling you something is with a Zoom, there's all this preparation. With this StreamYard, there's all this preparation. There's all the background. There's like an intensity to it that's good for some. But if I just pick up the phone, somebody answers, they can be in their pajamas, they can be walking, they can be doing all these other different things. So it's one of those where I truly, like the phone is the tool of choice for me. And I've had the greatest conversations during the quarantine times,
Absolutely. Michael, one genuine, caring, loving, empathetic call where people hear your voice, listen to the timbre, listen to the cadence, listen to the downswings is worth more than 1 year's worth of emails and postcards. It's that personalization of quality over quantity. And I know you expound that every day.
Well, absolutely. And I love that. And I hope the message gets out, especially during this time. The other thing I'd like to throw out there is that's what I've been pleasantly surprised about is that like the 7L system was built for this. It was built for this quarantine time. We were built to survive and thrive during this time because it's about relationships. Everybody's talking out there about you got to become human. It's about caring and serving, not selling. And it's like, hey, how about if we just live like that all the time? Wouldn't that be? And that's what some of these heavy hitters and these super salespeople are finding out is like, this is funner. And yet it's more productive. They filled their pipeline more than they ever have because they're doing it this way versus the other way. And I'll tell you, I love that. I love all aspects of that. And the other thing too is I would like people to share in the comments below is we talked about pleasantly surprised. And I've been pleasantly surprised about phone calls. And I'm going to be specific with people in the comments today. Is what is a phone call that you've been pleasantly surprised about? And I want you to comment below about what you've been pleasantly surprised about on a phone call, during a phone call, or a person who actually picked up your phone call. And so I want everybody to share that while we're going here. Also, Roger will be answering questions today. So please do me a favor, put your questions for Roger in the comments below. He is the ambassador of optimism. So like, I guess the question on that too is like, how can you be so optimistic all the time? How can you be so positive? Dang it, Roger, don't you know the world's falling apart? It's the end of the world as we know it. And you're optimistic.
Yeah. Three kinds of people will emerge from this quarantine: winners, watchers, and whiners.
Yeah.
And I've decided to be inside the mind of the winner. And to answer the question, Michael, it's a conscious effort every day. I look at my beautiful wife every morning and say, honey, it's going to be a great day. How can I support you better? Make my bed in the morning. It's a victory. Chug a glass of water because it reminds me of everything that's important. And then suddenly thinking, what am I going to learn? What am I going to teach? Who today am I going to help? Once that you do that enough times, there is enough dopamine that is released in your brain, and you decide, you push a reset in your brain, you decide to be happy. I have learned, Michael, though, not to give false comfort. I'm not so happy clappy that everything is fantastic, but to not try is unacceptable.
Yeah. So it's not about being Pollyanna. Yeah. It's about a positive attitude. And Roger, I have to tell you, one of the things I love about you is we were preparing for this and we came on, and it was one of those where, the first thing you asked me is what's the update on the car? For those of you that don't know, our car was stolen yesterday. Our SUV was taken. We were 100 feet away in a batting cage, but in a batting cage, it's walled up, so you can't see around you. But somebody just took our car. And what was amazing is that, like, Sherry and Max were carrying some stuff to the car. I was carrying some stuff. I was about 50 feet behind them, and they were standing there. And I go, hey, the car's open. The keys are in it. Go ahead and put the stuff in. And Sherry looked at me, and she looked at the space where the car was and then looked at me, and I go, oh, is it gone? And she goes, yeah. And I go, oh, okay. So we need to call 911 probably. So, I mean, it was like, I was so calm and I was so not bothered. And one of the things I've been pleasantly surprised during this is I've really discovered what really matters. It's been a great reprioritization. I never was upset for 1 second. I literally 911. All right, my wallet's in there. My keys are in there. All right, we got to cancel the credit cards. We got to, so we literally just had a mental checklist of what was in there. What do we got to do? And I have to tell you, I love that it happened. Does that make me insane? I love that it happened because Max was there, and Max saw Sherry and my reaction to our car being stolen. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't because we were safe. If Max was in the car, it would have been a whole different realm. But the thing is he was looking to us for leadership during a time of stress, or what could be stress, and danger. Could be danger, like somebody stole something from you. We remained calm. We logically called the police, called the towing company, called the credit cards, called Mercedes, updated our Embrace program, which helps us locate the car. And then we called Uber, right? So police came there, got a case number, and then I literally tracked the stolen car through the Embrace app. And it was, and what's funny is I was like, this is so much fun. And Max is looking at me like, our car was stolen, Dad. And it's like, no, it's like, so what? I mean, Compared to your health and my health and Mom's health, it's like, you know what? And guess what? We're getting the car right after the Daily Dose today. So we're going to go pick up the car, and I don't know what's gone, but you know what, Roger? It doesn't matter. You know, like you said, it doesn't matter. There's a silver lining. There's a positive. There's a what do we control? We can control our mindset.
Michael, I was listening very intently as you were speaking. And of course, there's always a breakdown before there's a breakthrough, and no pressure and no diamonds. We know all that stuff. But what you described there for Max was called grace under fire. It's also called a teachable point of view. He looked up to you, he saw leadership. What does leadership look like? You could have lost your fashizzle at that second. But no, you decided to remain calm and go through the checklist, which was something I enjoyed about running heart-lung machines during bypass surgery, because if we didn't work together as a team, somebody was going to die. And you follow that checklist, and that allows 1 + 1 to equal 3. You know, I quite like it when I get onto an airplane and I look out the little cabin window and I see the pilot with a checklist, and he's under the wing and he's looking. I feel good about that.
Yeah, I love that.
Same thing.
Yes.
I feel good. Yeah. And you went through the logical checklist. That is a moment Max will never forget. That's the shadow of a leader.
Well, I have to tell you, it wasn't just me, right? It was Sherry and myself. But I will tell you that I think that if I had gotten emotional, I think Sherry might have gotten emotional. Yep. But it was what, you know, you kind of like in who wins? Is it the emotion that wins or the logic that wins? You know, and I have to tell you, I think that's the battle that a lot of people have been really fighting during the quarantine times is like, you know, we want to get emotional about it. And guess what? The news wants you to get emotional about it. Oh, yeah. Facebook wants you to get emotional about it. Some of your friends want you to get emotional about it. And they're probably mad at you because you're not emotional about it. They're mad at you because you're not emotional about it. You're in logic and you're like enjoying, and it's just like, you know, this has been such a great microcosm for life, hasn't it, Roger? You know,
it's been a fabulous microcosm for life. And I don't want to go back to the old days. I want to go back to a calmer, gentler, a more contributing to each other. Because there's two kinds of value. There's economical value and there's emotional value. I love this new emotional value that we are discovering with each other. And it's something that I'm using more. Empathy is the new currency. Yeah. Empathy, how we hear other people, how we become a primary care physician in real estate and life, rather than professorial, standing back and I've got the answers if you come and ask me. No, you go forward and you ask the questions. You go deeper. You become the primary care physician, because empathy is so powerful.
That goes back to love so much, right? I mean, it's just what has happened is like there's two, like currency, right? When we what runs in currents has energy. And for a long time, I think we've been putting our energy into money, which, by the way, they call currency. And what you just said is so profound, is because there has been put power and energy into money, which is currency, and we put our energy into money. Well, what we've done is now people are putting their energy into love, which has a currency, which has an energy. I think people are finally realizing the power of love versus the power of money. And it's like the power of love is far stronger than the power of money. You know, money gives you choices, but love gives you everything.
Yep. My goodness. You know, you taught us well. We had to look each other in the eye and say, you are the gift. You say, no, you're the gift. We're to remind ourselves. So you gave me another addition to the molecule. I used to say, I am the solutionist. I am also the gift. If you believe, in fact, to take it to the next step, therefore, we've got what people want. We've got what people want. So they are, by that logic, already a yes. Yeah. You've got what they want. Yeah. And Therefore, they're a yes. We need to get out of our own way. Our energy precedes us. You've got the answers. We are the gift. We are the solutionist. And stop worrying about making the call. Drop those invisible fences and just go. I've got an acronym in my company called PUFF, an acronym called PUFF, P-U-F-F, and it stands for pick up the flippin' phone.
There
right?
you go. Way to keep it PG, brother.
Yeah, PG.
Yeah.
Pick up the flippin' phone. And so they've got that on a little mirror next to their phone. Smile, because they have to smile into the mirror.
Yeah.
And there is PUFF. Pick up the flippin' phone. That's the acronym for success. As long as you know you've got what people want, they are already a yes. Get out of your own way.
Like boom, like drop the mic. It's here's the thing on that, right? It's one of those where, like, I love pick up the flipping phone. I just love Puff. Like, I'm doing my Puff calls today. Like Puff is so easy to say, like cream puffs. It's just like Puffs is like tennis ball. How do we make phone calls fun? We make them Puff calls. That's genius. I love that.
Are you enjoying the Daily Dose? Want to connect with thousands of other business owners that are winning the referral game while working from home right now? Head over to the Generosity Generation Facebook group. Connect with leaders, visionaries, and business owners from all over the world. Go to www.joingengen.com. That's www.joingengen.com.
About you are the gift, and this is the truth, is that so many people and trainers and speakers, and they're always about, like, the items of value, the little gifts that you give. You got to give the gift, and you got to give a trinket, and you got to give these things, and then it's like, what do you give everyone that everyone will love? Well, the truth is that doesn't work anymore. Mass, bulk, we can't do that anymore. And the other part of it too is, like, people want personalized and customized. So
Yep.
So it leads to this whole thing of self-mastery, and we are the gift. So let's make the gift more valuable. How do we do that? We learn more. We take classes like 30 Mornings and Sweet Dreams and so on and so forth. We learn, we grow. And as we grow, the gift becomes more valuable. But here's the other thing that I have to say that I love about what's happened in the quarantine times, is that we have formed the Generosity Generation Facebook group. Yep. So I will tell you, so what if you were sitting across from another human being, and you're sitting there and you had an infinite capacity to help them? How powerful would you feel if you're sitting across from anyone and you have the key to help them? Like, you can help them. And that is the power of the Generosity Generation. Is any problem somebody else has, you can come to us. You can come to the Generosity Generation and say, you know what? I've got this person. They said their biggest challenge was this. What should I do? How can I help them? Or they said, you know what? I've got this person. They said their goal was this. I don't know how to help them. Like, what are some ways that I could help them? The Generosity Generation is here to kick in, to help. And what power is there? The power is that you're sitting there in complete and utter confidence, because you know what? You have infinite value to the person you're meeting with. Yep. Roger, you're bringing this out, dude. Like, so I want to comment on that if you want. And then let's go into the three types of people that are going to come out of this quarantine times.
Yeah. Michael, that whole concept of the mere fact that you bother to ask people what their biggest challenge is, the mere fact that you listen, often them just talking, they solve their own problem. They talk it through, because of those other questions that you've taught us so well. What's your biggest challenge at the moment? What have you tried so far? What is your next first step? By when? Those can be the structures, the pillars that support an entire conversation. There could be follow-up questions that bridge those. The mere fact that they get to talk about it, you have already helped them. You have become the primary care physician to them. And this is huge. And you might not have yourself the resource, but because you are a connector, because you have a servant heart, you know who to connect them to. You know who, maybe there's a chapter in your book that they should read. Whatever it is, just by doing that, they say thank you to you. And that's when the game is on, because now the value is exchanged.
I love it.
Yeah,
and that leads us right through to, what are the three types of people?
Yeah. The three kinds of people that are going to come out of this are the whiners. I wish the good old days would come back.
Yeah.
I can't. So they hunker down. You know, there's 4 stages. There's 4 stages of your business, no matter whether you've got a bakery, whether you're a realtor, whether you're in charge of a company. There is growth mode. There is in protection mode. There is retreat mode. And then there is a word I can't even say, surrender mode. Those are the 4 modes. Which one are you in?
Wow.
Which one are you in? And it's okay to have dropped into protection mode for a while, because we knew there was a recession coming. The coronavirus just sped it up. So it was okay if it caught you by surprise, dip into protection mode for a second. But now the winner decides, I'm going into growth mode, not growth mode with spending money, growth mode with organic growth, sustaining, building those relationships that you have earned in the past, that because of perceived indifference, you've ignored them. It's time to go back and rekindle that fling. That is the winner brain. Or they are then the majority that will just watch, just watch. And you wonder why the 80-20 principle kicks booty every time. 20% of us will come out and get 80% of the income because of the mindset of the winner to sustain and build relationships just with the people they know from the past. Those people that have entrusted you with their money, those people that have given you leads, these are the ones that need to hear from you. That's when the reciprocity starts. You've taught us well, Michael.
Are you a whiner? Are you a watcher? Or are you a winner? And I want you to put in the comments, I want you to put, which of those 3 are you? Are you a whiner? Are you a watcher? Or are you a winner? And I'm telling you right now, it's easy to be a watcher. There's so much to watch. You know, you could go to a Zoom, you could have 3 computers and be on a Zoom on all 3 computers at all times.
Yep.
And the thing is you're just watching. And I'm telling you something, learning is not growing. Learning is not growing. It is not. Implementing is growing.
Yep.
Implementing, failing is growing. You know what's better, learning or failing? Failing, in my opinion, is better than learning, because failing means you tried something. Now, does that work for hang gliding and parachuting? Probably not. But the thing is, that's the life, right? Life is the upward spiral of life is learn, implement, fail, evaluate. Yep. And the cool thing about the second 4 steps is you're doing it at a higher level of learning, higher level of implementing, higher level of failing, higher level of evaluating, and onward and upward. I love the winners, watchers, and whiners, and the winners are doing. The winners are doing.
Yep.
The winners are doing. And it's one of those where it's like, dang, let's do this stuff, right? Yep. Angela Gribbins, she's kicking butt with this, Roger. She's doing these 5 a day, right? The 5-star program, 5 steps to attract referrals. That's a 5-star, right? 5 steps to attract referrals. And so what are they, right? So we do the identifying the top person. We call them. We do a VIP form on them. We write a handwritten note, and then we follow up with inviting them to our Facebook group, right? And it's 5 a day. And if we add 5 a day to our group, eventually we'll be at 54,000 like Ann Schutte. Now, it might take a few years, but what happens is the first time you got 5 people, 1 person joins. Then you invite 5, and now you got 2 people that join because only one of them. And then all of a sudden you look and you got 7 people in there. And then all of a sudden you look and you got 144 people in there. And then all of a sudden, Jana Caudell, she's over 4,000 people in her Facebook group, and she started it with us during the Daily Dose. 4,000 people. She's changing lives in the Crown Point Neighbors Helping Neighbors group. And so, and everybody goes, oh, she's so far ahead of me. Listen, you got to start today. And it's not a competition against Jana Caudell. It's a competition against yourself. Like, get going, make it happen. I freaking love this, right? So the 4 stages are growth, protection, retreat, and surrender.
Yep.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So,
as I said, it's okay to have dropped into protection mode just for a second.
Yeah.
That is not going to pay you in the 3rd and 4th quarter. When you implement now, it will make sure that you are spring-loaded for the 3rd and 4th quarter and for 2021. Just by doing what you do now pays you in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Michael, if I may.
Yeah.
Please there are still some doubters. I know this. There is such a thing called the drunk monkey. Buddha says the drunk monkey jumps around in your brain saying, oh, that's all very nice what Roger is saying, but that's for other people. My customers are different. My situation is different. No, it's not. So I'm talking to you, those of you that are watching, thinking that this is not for you. Here's how a typical call may go. You can decide tomorrow to get into growth, or now, because I've still got this from the original. Today matters. This is about the generosity generation. All we've got is today. Tomorrow, we have got no control over. Yesterday is gone. All we've got is now. You pick up the phone, you call, and when they answer the phone, you are in peak state, you are standing, your energy is good, and you say, Michael, it's Roger here. You know, I could kick myself, I don't keep in contact with you. Just you saying that, you have eliminated the big pink elephant in the room, which is what I don't know what to say. I haven't spoken to them for the longest time. I could kick myself, I don't speak to you more often. Or the other thing that's acceptable, you crossed my mind. I wasn't going to let another day go past. Or I was in your file last night and such warm memories. And you start contributing. You are the primary care physician. You can make all the difference, and all that fear is gone.
And that's the power of the VIP form. Like by filling out this VIP form, you can actually pick out their VIP form. So I'm going to do this at random. I'm just going to pick a VIP form, right? Yep. So I have Gina Bordeaux's, right? So let's say I haven't talked to Gina Bordeaux in 18 months, but I did a VIP form when she came into the office and started as it, right? So I just pick out her form and I noticed that, let's see, I'm going to take it for real. Like I'm going to go here is, let's see.
Hope Gina's watching. Hey, Gina.
You know who is watching is your daughter. Danny's on.
My Danielle.
Yeah.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah. Oh, here's one. So she wants to backpack Europe someday, right? So that's like a trigger. You know what? I'm going to call her and just go, you know what? She can't backpack Europe right now, but has she made plans to backpack Europe? And maybe backpacking Europe is cheaper than it ever has been, you know? And it's one of those where it's like, but I can pick something from their VIP form and just go, oh, you know what? It was your daughter's birthday, or your daughter's birthday is coming up. You know, how cool is that? I just thought, I knew it was in May sometime, but I noticed that it's a birthday coming up in a couple of days. And I just thought about it. And I thought, you know what? I need to give you a call, Gina. How are things going? You know, if you have those VIP forms, you are literally, you have ammunition for the call forever. And that's why we are doing this. You know, I mean, it's just like, it wasn't random. We thought, you know, we'll just do random strategies every day. No, like all of this is pieced together. All of it makes sense. And for those of you that want more information on the forgotten strategy and the biggest challenge question sequence that Roger talked about, we have some questions coming in on that. Tommy Sandvik and I in April during the Daily Dose did an entire episode just on those questions. So you can check that out when you get a second. So here's the thing. What is the best platform to build stronger bonds with past clients and potential new leads from what you've discovered, Roger?
Oh, Michael, and thank you for that question. You know, we've touched upon a lot of it, but the reminder of that, what you always say, ABC, always be contributing.
Mm-hmm.
Empathy is the new currency. Don't call with an agenda other than with love. There's an acronym called HAIL, HAIL. Honesty, authenticity, integrity, love. Just all those things that you've written. It's called HAIL. Call with HAIL. But the reminder, when someone asks you what you do for a living, please feel free not to say, I'm a loan officer, I'm a realtor, because that is the finest way to be ignored. You intend to be fascinating, not boring. We have to unlearn boring.
Mm-hmm.
Lead with what your purpose is, what your why is. For example, Michael, ask me what my why is, what my purpose is.
Yeah, what is your why?
Michael, thank you for the question. I get people unstuck because when you get people unstuck, they suddenly realize they've got options, and that clarity sets them free and they go ahead and thrive. That makes me happy. When I lead with that, people go, son of a gun, what do you do? Now you have just broken 3 massive headwinds. Distraction, because we have the attention span of a goldfish, 3.5 seconds. So we lead with that. Number 2, I could step outside my house and throw a frisbee and I'll hit 4 realtors, all doing the same thing. No. Look what everyone else is doing and you run the other way. Do the opposite. Be different. So beat distraction, be different. And number 3, when you lead with your why, you cannot be commoditized. If I just say, I'm a trainer for a mortgage company, they often say to you, oh, that's cool. My brother's a trainer too. You've just been commoditized. But when you say, I get people unstuck, I walk a mile in their shoes, I don't live with them, but I have to live with myself. You see them, you hook them in. So empathy is the new currency, and lead with your why. It makes a monster difference. You will come out of there a winner.
I love that. And that leads me to a great question for the listeners and the viewers here today. And even if you're watching on the replay, I want you to put your answer in the comments, which is, what do you love most about your profession? What do you love most about your work? What do you love most about what you do? What do you love most about it? And I want you to put in the answers, like, what do you love most? What Roger loves the most about being a trainer with a mortgage company is helping people become unstuck. And I mean, how many people were stuck in a rut before the quarantine times, and they're maybe even stuck now with what to do or what to say or how to do it. And the thing is instantly Roger, through his introduction, through his very beginning, it's attractive, right? It's attractive. And instead of him saying, it's so funny, sometimes I'll just be tired and just say, like, you know, I'm an author and a speaker. And they go, oh, you're a motivational speaker? And it's just like, oh man, do I have to go into this explanation of what I really am? You know, it's like, but I love that. I love it. And people are already putting down what they love about what they do. And, I love helping people blank, I love to do blank, whatever it may be. So I will tell you, I love this. This has been so powerful. And, you've been teaching a lot of realtors, and you've been training a lot of mortgage and realtors. So, what is, who are the ones that are succeeding? What are they doing that maybe the ones that are stuck aren't doing?
Michael, again, what an intuitive question to ask. You've taught us often, look after the people and the numbers look after themselves.
That's right.
That's all true. Can take nothing away from that. There is one little layer often that is missing. Often I see people do everything right, but there's one thing missing that is holding them from being extraordinarily successful, is that they don't challenge the status quo. In other words, they think building relationships means that they have to get along with everybody,
Mm.
They have to be likable to everyone, and they have to be generous of their time. In other words, they become doormats. Stop that nonsense. Stop that nonsense. The way to do this is to challenge. In other words, teach your clients something that is relevant to them. And you'll know what to teach them if you've asked the right questions. They will give you the gap. They will give you the crack where the light gets in. Teach them, make it personal to them, and challenge their status quo. By the time you get to speak to clients, they've done 70% of the work already. You have to learn to challenge. How did you come up with that? And feel good pushing back. When you push back with love, with empathy, they suddenly see you in a new light. You become transformational rather than just transactional. So the key crowbar separation is learn to challenge the status quo. Show your knowledge that way. You've been improving, you've tripped yourself up, you've evaluated, you've implemented again. You are a solutionist. Don't give up your power.
That's another drop the mic comment from Roger Savy right there, everyone. I mean, just so it's one of those where be strong enough to challenge the status quo. And another part of that too is some people say like the opposite of servant leadership is egotistical or selfish leadership. And I don't think that's the answer. I think the opposite of servant leadership is subservient leadership, where you are a doormat. You are frazzled because you're just giving and giving and giving. And it's one of those where that's why we want to focus on the few to give to. And number two is realize that you are under control with your generosity, right? Generosity is not, don't mistake my generosity for weakness. Generosity is actually, strength. And generosity doesn't just mean you give to everybody, right? Generosity means that you give massive value first to those that you interact with, and you choose who you interact with. And that's kind of a nice tweak to that. And I think the other thing is I love what you're teaching in the real estate world, because a lot of times there has been this subservient type of relationship between lenders and title and warranty with the realtors, and the realtors become entitled, and the realtors, here's the thing. The realtors don't want you to pander to them. They don't. There's no respect in that. And it goes back to FLY, which is first love yourself. When you have self-respect, and trust me, it's a growing thing. Everybody has to develop the self-respect muscle. And so, Roger, I'm going to go back to that with you. If you don't, I know it's not one of our rehearsed questions, but you're so wise. It's like how do we strengthen the self-respect muscle? How do we, it's easy for you to say, Roger, you're the greatest. You're like the most interesting man in the world from the beer commercials, like everybody wants to talk to you and hang out with you and stuff like that. But that's not me. You don't know my story. I'm how do I build? I'm brand new to this game. I can't approach a top producing agent. Like, let's conquer that.
All right. First of all, people will rise and fall to your expectations. You decide, I am the gift, I am the solutionist. And if I don't know as much as the person I'm going to speak, just the way you speak. For example, my name is Roger, and it's my intention to meet top people like you in the area. Would you allow me an opportunity to interview you? I promise you, you'll never hear from me again if I haven't got something for you. Please may I interview you? Just the way you speak 1/3 slower, make good eye contact, smile with crow's feet, take notes, paraphrase what people are saying, and look like you are interested in them. When people see that you are respecting yourself, they give you the respect as well. Most of the time, these fears are the drunk monkey jumping around in your brain. Do not be intimidated. Do not let anyone take your power. And there will be some jerks. There will be. And you just say, next, move on. It's not personal. Remember, if you approach 100 people 80 are going to push you back. It's
Exactly.
meant to be that way. And if you do it well, only 70 will push you back. So just know that you are destined for success if you keep trying.
That is off the charts. That is off the charts. That is it's one of those where it's like, I mean, like, I think it goes back to value, right? Self-value, self-worth, and understanding that, you know what, like you have a power. Everyone has a power. And you just nailed this whole thing where I start off a lot of times with a little bit of shock therapy for my audiences, which is, are you ready to stop preying on the weak and start partnering with the strong? Right? I mean, sales forever has been about preying on the weak. And now it's like, preying on the weak doesn't work. It doesn't work. Preying on the weak is, yes, you know what? You're going to get a sale or two. You're probably going to earn a dime. Maybe you'll even earn $10, maybe even $100. But you're not going to earn the millions and the billions. And because you're preying on the weak. And the weak, people have never been stronger than they are right now because everyone has a voice. It used to be nobody had a voice. So if you preyed on the weak and even the strong people wouldn't say anything about you because they had no voice. But now you call the wrong person with a manipulative technique, they can go to Facebook and tell 5,000 friends in a half a minute. So, but the other side of it too is when you partner with the strong, by the way, when you prey on the weak, when a weak person refers you, which they won't because they're weak. But the other thing is the person they referred won't work with you either because they were referred by a weak person.
Yep.
So this partnering with the strong, the interviewing that you're saying, and having a list of questions that you go in. Honestly, that's kind of like the secret to my success. That's how I started, came from a very humble place. And I wanted to learn more. You partner with the strong, what happens? The strong wants to help you. That's number one. Number two is you have to become stronger because you're partnering with the strong. You want to become stronger? Like hang out with 5 really strong people on a regular basis and you'll become strong. But the other thing too is that when you partner with the strong, what happens is when the strong refers you, the person who's referred to you works with you with no questions asked because they were referred by a strong person. So with this whole thought of sales forever has been overcoming objections, preying on the weak, like find somebody weaker than you and talk them into working with you. And guess what? We don't live in that age anymore. You're not a dinosaur, people, right? We're in the new age. We are superhuman. We're tech-enabled human beings, and that equals superhuman.
Absolutely right, Michael. Absolutely right. The only thing I'm a little fearful of are the murder hornets. I've heard these murder hornets are coming around. So I'm watching out today for the murder hornets. Otherwise,
you want to hear something really bad? I'm allergic to bee stings.
Oh,
so it's like, like I already have a little fear of bees, right? I mean, then you take the murder hornet, which is like, I'm trying to give you an analogy. Like it's like, a little thing is like the bee, and then you got the murder hornet that's literally like 4 times as big. Have you seen the pictures? It's like crazy. So I think the big thing is there's a lot of things to be afraid of in life. The quarantine, the virus, flu, cars, planes, walking outside, the sun, literally but murder hornets. But the thing is we can't live life in this fear, right? We've got to live life. And you know what? There's murder hornets and I'm going to work anyway. There's the flu and I'm going to work anyway. There's the sun and I'm going to go to the beach anyway. And I'm going to wear sunblock, So it's like, a lot of these, it's like a lot of times what we fear, we give it negative power. And in many cases, it's like, we should take what we fear and give it positive power. Like, how does it motivate us? How does it get it going? How does it take us to the next level?
Yeah. Thanks, Michael.
So Roger, you're the man, dude. I mean, it's like, it's time. Like we've gone for 50 minutes. literally 50 minutes. And I feel like I could talk to you for hours upon hours upon hours, and your wisdom would never run out. I really, truly believe that. I see you as someone that I look to for advice and look to for feedback, and absolutely love that. And what a lot of people don't know is that when I created the CRT program, I had Roger Savy in mind. I wanted to create a program that speakers as great as Roger Savy would be interested in and learn. Like it was like Roger would get value from this. So I got to up my game. And you know what? CRT is as good as it is. Certified Referral Trainer is as good as it is because of you, Roger. And that's the truth. Like it was built with you in mind. And that's the truth.
Thank you. And I want to quit now while I'm ahead. Thank you for that nice sentiment. I've got to tell you, I use your lessons every day, and they're stored in my brain. And when I'm talking to people and then they ask me a question of how I can help them, I always look thoughtful. I never want to come across as the silver-tongued assassin. And I always say, thank you. Michael has enriched my life. And slowly I introduce a concept, and you can see people being unstuck in front of you. It's the most wonderful feeling in the world.
Roger, thank you so much
for
being our guest today on the Daily Dose of Positivity and Productivity. I love you, brother. And let's stay in touch, stay safe, stay healthy. And I can't wait for the next time.
Thank you. And a special shout out to my Danielle who's watching.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you, Mike.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was such a powerful, powerful presentation. I mean, like this is one to share with your 11-year-old, 21-year-old, 31-year-old, 41-year-old, 51-year-old. And here's the thing. We talked a lot today about self-worth and self-value. And here's the thing, right? Do you guys know what this is right here? Like, what is that? Like, if you can't see this, you're listening to it on the Referrals podcast. I'm holding up a $100 bill. And here's the thing, right? With this $100 bill is if I go like this with this crisp, I mean, for those of you not seeing this, this is a crisp, like I just made this. I'm just kidding. I didn't just make it. But here's the thing is this crisp $100 bill right here, right? Now, if I do this, did it lose any value? Is it worth less than $100? Is it lose any value because I crumpled it up? No, it didn't, right? But here's the thing. What if I beat it? What if I beat this $100 bill? Did it lose value? What if I scream at it? You aren't worth anything. You've got no value. Why do you even exist? You're the worst thing ever. You can't do it. Did this $100 bill lose its value? No, it's still worth $100. And you know what? So are you. So are you. You didn't lose any value. You were born a millionaire. You were born wealthy, fortunate. And guess what? You are wealthy. You are fortunate. You are like this $100 bill that no matter what anybody says, no matter how much you're beating, no matter what your past is like, no matter how many people want to take your value away, you know what? You're still full value. And you know what? You are the gift. You are the gift. Make it happen, people. Roger, I love you, brother. We will see you on the next edition of the Daily Dose, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael.
My pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, this was another edition of the Daily Dose of Positivity and Productivity. My God, my God, my God. Like, take it in, own it, savor it, love it, embrace it. Love, generosity, appreciation. I appreciate all of you listeners, viewers. We will see you tomorrow on the Daily Dose.